Welcome to the Spinning Our Gears podcast. Before we begin, a quick reminder. All views, issues, and opinions are solely those of the hosts and their guests and do not reflect the opinions or positions of any department, agency, city, county, municipality, state, or country, or any other organization. This show is rated E for explicit. Listening and viewer discretion is highly advised. Spinning Our Gears is a law enforcement leadership and mental health podcast. We confront the issues and conversations others are afraid to deal with. Leadership failures, the culture within law enforcement, accountability, and the realities of life on and off the job. You can find us on YouTube, all of the major podcasting platforms and social media outlets, as well as online at spinningourgears.com. And now, without further fanfare, this is the Spinning Our Gears podcast.
Spinning our gears. Admin talks and broken plans, doing the best that we can. Jokes on shift, truth off mic, trying to live a normal life. Mental health ain't weakness, no, it's the stuff we learn as we go. Say it out loud, make it clear, this job don't own us here. So tune it in, don't disappear when it all gets heavy here. Real talk, real voices clear, spinning our gears, podcast is here.
Life at home, and that this whole thing can stop once you clock out, as opposed to the law enforcement world where, man, it's what have we done for you and why aren't you repaying us? And no, you're not gonna go home to your family, you're gonna stay here and you're gonna cover that overtime and all that other fun stuff. But you've been alluding to it kind of the whole show, and I've been pulling you back a little bit. I think we need to get a little bit dirty here. You are in a position that I think a lot of us are not in, that we don't get to experience, and you are attending those conferences and those trainings and, you know, the yearly police chief conference. I know that I've seen just a little bit like the roster or the schedule, and when I see things pop up that say like sometimes it's okay to lie to your people, that's a whole 2-hour training block. It fascinates me and it makes me want to know what's going on there. What are you seeing from that side that is good, is bad, infuriates you, all of it?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't gone to a Chiefs conference in probably 7 years.
Which is telling. It's telling.
I haven't gone to an Iowa Police Officers Association meeting in 8 years. You know, I went to a lot of these things early on, man, and I'm very selective now about where I go for leadership training. And by no means am I saying that the organizations are wrong or bad in any way. What I'm saying is they're just not for me. What I ended up finding out is I guess the way that we're teaching cops leadership, I don't agree with. Like I said, and I think any guys that are listening, any gals that are listening, I think everyone knows either they work for or they are close to some sort of law enforcement leader that knows exactly what we're talking about, right? The ones that clock out, 4 hours early on salary and they get to go golfing every day.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that, are always going out to lunch with other chiefs in other jurisdictions and, they're not taking cases. They're that figurehead, right? And I get it. So, but I think most cops across the state know that. And I've done tons of different, I'm trying to think like the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I've done some leadership stuff for them. Theirs was actually good because, again, they're not confined just to one state. They're bringing guys in from Denver and all these major cities that actually know what they're talking about. But as far as like the local stuff goes, man, I'm sure I'll get some heat from this, but I just, I got, again, early in my career, I was told I have to do these things. Like if I want to be successful, right, like I have to go to the police chiefs conference and I have to go to, I should be striving to go to the FBI Academy for leadership. And again, as I'm getting older and I'm seeing who's like graduating these classes, like I've worked with them and I see that they're fucking idiots or they're fucking dinks. And I wouldn't work for them because they're shitty leaders and they're getting certificates and then they just jerk themselves off to an FBI certificate. And it's like, okay, but what are you doing to actually like be a leader, right? Those are just accolades. They mean nothing, right? Who in your academy class won top shot and who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right? No one cares that you scored the highest educational thing in the academy. Nobody fucking cares. What happens is, the only thing people care about is what you do every day when you show up to work and you're 41 between when you go 42. Right? Are you a good person? Are you doing the right thing? That's all I give a shit about. What you do on all these accolades, all these other things, I mean, they're great, and I get that some people like that. But what I realize for me is that's not what I give a shit about. I could care less.
Yeah.
Right? I want people like you, like, even we do our hiring process is different, you know, and you got to see that firsthand, is how I hire people is because I could give a shit less if you have a degree. I could give a shit less if you have a certification, right? How do you fit in with my team, right? Are you going to be able to come in, have a good personality? Are you able to vibe with the team that you're going to be working with, right? And not me.
Right.
And I think you can even testify as like, I stayed kind of out of it. Right? I let my officers make my decision for me. Because if they think you're an idiot, how's that going to... Like, it doesn't matter if I like you.
Right.
I'm going to see you very rarely. So if they fucking hate you, what good does it say, like, well, I'm going to hire this guy because I like him? Well, I don't fucking work with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to create issues, and then I'm going to have more people leave. And so, like, it's things like that that I found were contrary to everything that I was being taught. And I just said, screw it. Like, I'm going to do things my way, and I know people don't like the way I do things, like leadership-wise across the state, but I've been doing it long enough now that I just don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my guys would take a bullet for me, and I know that they're going to, they like what I'm doing because they tell me they like what I'm doing, and that's all I fucking care about. Like, if no one else wants to fucking tell me I'm great, cool, great. My guys go out and answer their calls. They don't get complaints. They do their job. They're smart. They're continuing their education. That's all I want. I just want to, that's fine. I'm good with that, you know? And that's where I'm at. I don't like our current state of leadership for law enforcement, especially in our state.
Yeah. And yeah, I will say I went in for that ride along and I was a little bit surprised there was no admin there shaking my hand and you know, trying to pat my back and boast me up and this is why you want to come here. But it was, especially if I'd continued on and I'd accepted, it would have been a huge nepotism issue where, hey, the chief wanted this guy, not us. And so the whole thing, it would have started off, you know, bad. It would have only gone downhill from there. I guess my curiosity is, with these association meetings, the ones that you have been to, I mean, is there structure there, or is it just a big luncheon and circle jerk, or how are those things playing out?
I mean, there's structure, at least from what I can remember, you know. But I don't know. Maybe my mind's just broken to the extent where I guess I'm more of I'm trying to think of how to explain it, like an objective-based person now, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't even do that. I do it more so even like with current meetings within the county. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get invited to some crazy committee that I was like, why am I being invited? Like, that has nothing to do with law enforcement whatsoever. You know, and that's what I tell the people is when they were like, well, we'd really love your input. Like, I don't have any input for you. Like, that's not my realm, right? Like, I'm not going to be part of your group. Like, and that's what I think is a lot of it is I would like to see from those organizations more, like, logistical objectives about what you want to accomplish with these groups. That's why I love the FOP, right? Like,
Yeah.
I love the legislative team because it's like when we meet, there's a purpose, right? We have obtainable, clear objectives, and that's what we're trying to work towards, right? Like, and it changes from year to year, but we still have, this is the objective. And it just seems like with some of these other things, it's like objectives all over the fucking place, and we don't focus, and there's so much to choose from, and nobody learns anything.
Well, I think you talked about it. I want to be careful with what I say. It's all about padding that resume and trying to climb up to that next level of where can I go next? How can this benefit me next? And it takes you from local police admin all the way to the state, whether it be political or the academy. And I know that you mentioned wanting to kind of talk about that too, and I have no problem if you want to. Pull out the saw and start cutting. I'm here, man.
They already know, right? Like, and there's a lot of overstep that happens even on the state level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have this conversation. Like, so one of the other organizations I'm really involved in. Do you know what LEAN is? Law
Yes.
Enforcement Intelligence Network.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on the board with them for damn near a decade.
Okay.
And like, I love the LEAN conference, and I have this conversation every year with cops all over the state. And you had alluded to this thing where it's like, this resume builder thing, right? And, I always tell people leadership is something that I don't believe everyone can do.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know why, as a career, we're not okay saying that, right? When we talk about grooming shitty people that shouldn't be leaders, right? And so I have this conversation, and it'll probably get me some flack, but like, if you look at history, right? History tends to repeat itself, right? You can say what you want. Like, okay, Hitler was a terrible human, but did he not rally an entire group or an entire nation on his side, right? Stalin, all of these crazy people, right? Horrible human beings, but they had the natural ability to talk and have that leadership capability, right?
Yeah.
So even though they used that for evil, right, I still believe that there are certain people in this world that probably just shouldn't be leaders, right?
Right.
And not everybody has it. And this thing where we like have, I think you alluded to the word like nepotism almost,
Mm-hmm.
where, we start working with people and start having our own personal opinions as administrators, and we start pushing them towards roles that really they should have never had. Right? We groom them to be this next big thing, but they're just not capable of doing it, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't say that enough, where it's like, hey, you're a great drug cop, right? Like, you're so good at that. Don't ever stop doing that, but please don't ever become a sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, why, we should be having conversations when we recognize those people, because there are. I think everyone can reflect and talk about, like, even in their own department right now, depending on the size, unless you're like a one-man department, then I guess you don't have a pool to pull from. But, there's usually somebody in that department, and they're usually working the road that gets that I would follow into the fires just because of their personality and the way that they do things.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is those people like rarely ever get promoted. They never get promoted. They never get in a supervisory role. They never get in a leadership role, but yet they're already doing it and the whole department follows them.
Right.
And it's crazy to me, right? Like, it's absolutely insane where I see that all the time, where I'm talking to people and I go and meet these people from the department. I'm like, oh my God, you're like, ugh, like I would fucking fight wars for you, dude.
Absolutely.
Like, the way you present yourself. And I'm like, and then you find out that, like, yeah, I've been working the road for 15 years. And you're like, what the fuck? Why are you working the road? You should be like leading.
Let's talk about it. It's a twofold thing. Some of those guys, they don't want it. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want the headache and the drain. But so many times those guys are putting in for it, and they should be getting it. But it's those fake people at the top that don't want that counter to them. They don't want that person underneath them that might ask questions. They just want the person who's going to toe the line and do what they're told and stick up for the chief, as opposed to stick up for what's right or what's better for the department.
Yeah, and I've got for my own thing, I've got a guy that's like that right now, where I think he'd be great, right? Like, the officers respect the hell out of him. They call him all the time for advice, and he makes good decisions every day, right? Like, he's just fucking smart, But that's where, we have to get creative as leadership. Does that mean, so like, I came to him when I had a sergeant opening, which I still haven't filled, because I felt like he's the one that could do that. Right? Like, I'm like, the guys respect you. You're very good at your job. You're very knowledgeable, right? Like, you're great with the public. Like, this is exactly what a leader is, right? Like, and he's like, I don't really feel like I deserve it, right? But I'm like, okay, so what do you feel like you deserve then, right? And so I'm like, why don't we talk about, like, I still feel like you need to start your leadership journey, right? And we had a very candid conversation where I said, what if we just change some of the roles and responsibilities of the sergeant and I call you a corporal, right? What if we remove some of that where you're still, you're not at that level. You still have some other people you can lean on above you, right? But I still want to put you in a position to be able to lead your guys, right? I still feel like, this would be a good middle ground. This was our compromise where I was like, if you at least consider this, right? Like, I'll help you. You can help me build the job description and what you feel you would be comfortable being responsible with, right? But I still feel like let's get his feet wet now, right? And that's what I told him. And we can do that. Like, even if we're union, and what? So I just have to renegotiate with a union that's, who cares?
Right.
Right? Like, we need to start recognizing who within our ranks actually can do the leadership portion, because that's where we're failing right now, is we're letting people who should not be leaders lead, who make shitty fucking decisions every day, and then in turn teach all these young guys and young gals to make shitty decisions, because if you make shitty decisions, you'll just get promoted so that you don't have to make decisions. And it's become this hyperbole of fucking shitstorm. And again, I'm on the small end of it, but if you think for 1 second I don't see it on the outside, or I'm not paying attention, again, going to these conferences and talking to other people and just seeing the amount of moxie that comes from nothing.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off, right? Because I genuinely care about, Iowa law enforcement. I give a shit about what we're going to look like in the next 10 to 15 years, right? It doesn't matter if you work at like I said, solo one-man show, or if you're the fucking chief of Polk County or Des Moines, it shouldn't fucking matter. We're all here to do the same job.
And you're absolutely, man, there's so many things that you're hitting right now that I think people have got to listen to. Just your whole method and mentality of building people up. But you just talked about Iowa law enforcement in the next 10 to 15 years. And I think a big problem that we have as cops in Iowa is that we haven't been facing a lot of the scrutiny and the pushback in this state, because for the most part we've been kind of protected by the guys above us and the legislators and things like that. But just recently I've started seeing things start to shift, and I think we're going to be fighting those battles. And how are we going to come out on the other side successful? There was just posted on the news, there was an officer that right, wrong, or indifferent with how he handled the situation, an administrative law judge said he was fine. He was constitutionally fine. He didn't do anything wrong. Throughout the investigation, he decided to leave the department because he felt like he was getting daggers in his back. The academy turned around and suspended his license, or his certification, even though he didn't do anything wrong. A judge said he didn't do anything wrong. How can we come in as legislators and as a board and take someone's certification away when they were told they didn't do anything wrong? It shocks me.
I got the same thing, right? I mean, we already talked about where I came from. And I, to this day, I don't give a shit if you find out where I used to work or not. You can go over there. I never once got disciplined for shit, right? I never got wrote up. I never violated a law. I had a lawsuit there, which was bullshit, and the insurance company paid out. That's all I've ever did that was ever wrong there, right? If you're talking about negativity-wise, at my old agency, I mean, we did tons of community outreach for a small department. I would argue just as much as some metro departments, Mm-hmm. We did all the things that we're supposed to be doing with less resources. And, I had, again, you make enemies in these roles with politicians, and man, they fucking hold grudges, right? I just wanted out. And even when I get out, again, I have no negative marks other than this one lawsuit. And I get a letter from the academy 3 months into my brand new amazing job that says,
mm-hmm.
We're reviewing your lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 years old, and
Yep.
you may or may not be decertified.
Yep.
I lost my fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew that the academy wasn't there to fucking help us out, dude. Because no offense to anybody out there, if you work for the academy, you're listening, but I am the wrong motherfucker to poke, and I have time. And it sounds terrible, and I don't mean to be a dick, but I have time, right? And I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm an educated person. I love research and I love intelligence, And so that letter came through, man, and the academy was in my eyesight at that point. I started reading so much case law, so much administrative rules, right? Like I was gonna, okay, you want to play this fucking game? Like wrong person, right? Like I'm gonna, my shield is up right fucking now. And that's actually how I got more so involved with the FOP, because I started again researching and seeing all of these cases in the state of Iowa, you know, of like this gross overreach of these, like this council, this academy council that sits on their ivory throne and says, I don't like you, peasant, let's investigate, right? And we pick and choose. And it's fucking irked me ever since, dude. And I'll stand on the hill again. I don't like the affairs of the academy right now. I don't like them from the ground all the way to the top. And I don't give a shit who hears it, because I'm gonna talk to the Capitol here later this month with FOP that I don't fucking like it. You know, we got instructors that have less years on the job than I do, and I'm not qualified to be an instructor.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I can run a department every day, but I should not be training Iowa's law enforcement right now. I just don't have that much time in.
Yeah.
So if you have less time than me, in my opinion, you shouldn't be teaching anybody shit. You're still learning.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, like this crazy thing where we're creating administrative rules to decertify or even just suspend, right? Like what the fuck happened where we don't even listen to reason anymore, and we have to go explain ourselves. You know, and I get it. A lot of it's probably political pressure at the state level that I have no idea, because I don't deal with that. You know, I probably don't have a protesters outside my door or whatever the case, or whatever they think is happening. But at the same level, like, dig your trench. You're the fucking academy, right?
Right.
And if they're a shitty cop and they do illegal shit, hang them, right?
Yes.
I don't want them here either.
Right.
100%. If you're fucking stealing money or fucking planting evidence or smoking dope, get the fuck out of my career field, right? If you're stalking your ex-girlfriend or you're fucking assaulting your wife, get out. Like, I don't want you here anyway. You shouldn't have a badge ever. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But like these guys that are literally doing their job and they're making tough decisions, which is already hard enough for them mentally, right? An OIS or just even something like a use of force. And so they're already drained from that, because they're getting it probably on the civil side, outside of the academy. They're probably getting it from their city. They're probably getting it from their insurance company. They're probably getting it from their wives and fucking everybody else. And then the academy goes, hey, by the way, not to like shit in your Cheerios, but we might also take away your fucking livelihood.
Yeah. You are no longer going to be able, yeah.
Done.
You're not going to be able to work here in Iowa. No one's going to touch you outside of Iowa when they see this. And you talked about that it might be coming from above, but I feel like our state legislature has got our backs, or at least they have touted that and they've promoted that. I almost feel like it's more of a, hey, if we do this thing and we are proactive with this thing, we can tell legislature we have and look at how good we are, and kind of, kiss our rear end.
I think that's part of it too, right? It's like a look at how progressive we are. Because,
yes.
Which, I have my own thoughts on this whole thing with the world the way it is now. Right? And don't get me wrong, like we do PR stuff, right? We are out there in the community, but where did we go wrong that we have to put every fucking thing we do for the community on our Facebook page?
Preach on.
Right?
Come on.
I got officers, like, I have officers that go to like one of our schools and play with kids at recess. I don't need to take a picture of them and pat myself on the back and tell me how amazing they are. They're fucking amazing, right?
Tell them. Keep going.
We've done this for years. Like, this is nothing new. This has happened across the country for years, but now we get into this petty fight about who's doing what and who's doing more, and like stealing ideas. Who gives a shit, right? Like, if you're involved in your community, you don't need to put it on Facebook every day. You don't need to pat yourselves on the back. And I feel like, again, that's kind of what the Academy is doing with this, is like, look at how progressive we are with trying to be proactive in this shit. No, you're ruining fucking lives without evidence. And you sit there and you put guys in the Academy through classes on mental health and below 100, and then they get out and they make maybe one mistake. Maybe they did make a mistake. Who hasn't fucking made mistakes? Everybody on that fucking Academy Council has made mistakes in their career. They have. The only difference is at that time they were probably a fucking chief's pet or a fucking lieutenant's pet, and that never came to light. So again, like, don't poke me. I'm not fucking stupid. I know how this works, right? And so you're hanging up these guys on minimal things that, yeah, like if you ask them, they probably will just say, I made a mistake, like it was wrong, and I'm willing to pay the piper. But I don't think we need to go to the extent of like removing their fucking livelihood for that.
Right.
For some of the stuff, right? Again, bad cops are bad cops. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the guys that make split-second decisions. We're talking about the guys that are just trying to survive out there on the streets. And for whatever fucking reason, that seems to be the focus of who they are attacking right now.
Okay, so a couple things, right? We talked about being genuine, and you were talking about the community policing side of things. When you were constantly posting that stuff, and like the analogy that I give is when that video for some reason started just before the officer pulled up, and now the officer's playing basketball with the kids in the street or whatever, the community sees right through that. They know that it's been staged. They know that it's not genuine. That is not what community policing is. Community policing is not handing out stickers to little... I mean, it is. It's part of it. But it is not just handing out stickers and taking pictures. It is getting your boots dirty. It is intermingling yourself with the community, understanding what's right, what's wrong, the pulse of the community and how they're feeling. That is what community policing is. And like you said, we don't need to post every single time a cop goes to a school and has lunch with a kid or attends recess, because the community sees that. They appreciate it. Facebook doesn't need to see it. The other part that I want to cover is the way things are handled at the academy. And I will give them some credit, because when you and I went through the academy, most of the instructors were guys that had been fired from places or shouldn't have been a cop in the first place, and this was the last stop for them. The academy has seemed to change that to the point now where most of the instructors are people that actually care and want to teach. But like you said, they don't have a lot of experience. The big problem that I have is that, say I work for Davis here, and he and I butt heads a little bit, so I decide I'm going to go somewhere else. Now Davis can turn around and contact the academy, and the academy can do a complete investigation based solely on what Davis is saying and not take anything else into effect, and then they're going to decide what our livelihoods are based on that alone.
And it's happening all over the state, you know, and maybe not so much, you know, in your scenario, but like look at elections, right?
Yeah.
Look at sheriff elections, right? Especially if they're interdepartmental elections where a deputy is running against a incumbent sheriff. Right? And you will see.
You and I know somebody.
Yeah. And like again, that's what I mean. When I got these letters, that's when I started paying attention, right? And I didn't just pay attention to Northeast Iowa. No. I am checking the entire state, and I'm checking those academy council logs, and I'm doing my research, and I'm out there, baby. I'm finding out. And because I want it all in my back pocket, right? Like I want to know what I'm talking about if I got to talk about it.
Another quick break from your boy Turk. Wanted to talk about Imposters on the Throne, Warriors in the Shadows, Exposing Poor Leadership Tactics During Tough Times. It's the book that I wrote, and right now it is on Amazon for the cheapest price that it's ever been. This promotion is going to be ending here soon, so I highly suggest you hop on Amazon, buy the book now, because prices are going to be going up. But book 2 is currently in the works, so you got to get yourself this thing, read it, and get prepared for book 2. It's coming your way sooner rather than later. I got a life, a lot of things going on. It will be done soon, though, I promise. All right. Hey, yeah, that's it. Back to the show.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's happening a lot where it's like, oh, well, they did something, you know, moral turpitude. But what is moral turpitude? No one seems to know.
Right.
Like if you ask me what's moral turpitude, it's, you know, again, stalking your ex-girlfriend, right? Telling somebody we've had some guys in Northeast, like, show me your tits to get out of this ticket. That's a moral turpitude issue, right? That's, in my eyes, that's pretty fucking clear of what a moral turpitude issue is. You running against me or for sheriff or trying to kick me out of my position because you don't like my politics is not a moral turpitude issue. But we lambast it with this generosity thing. And I don't know, man, there's going to be some lawsuits coming out on this whole thing. And it's going to be ugly. And it's because of overreach from the academy, you know?
and the track record for what they are following through with and not following through with. The whole, like you talked about, if you're beating your wife at home, you shouldn't have a certification. Why are they permitting that to happen?
I when I left, you know, I can't tell you. Again, I had a chief in my jurisdictions that I wouldn't piss on if he was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He had straight up got me involved in a entrapment situation once on an OWI, and I found out about it, and I blew the whistle to the academy, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Right? This was before I moved here because I thought I was going to be in that area long term, and I'm like, I don't want to work with this person no more. Like, I don't want to be forced. Like, they need to fucking go. And the academy didn't do a fucking thing about it, right? And I had evidence, right? We're talking about legitimate body cam statements, fucking full blown. I did my own investigation for them. I handed them a beautiful red bow with a present, saying like, "Here's a bad fucking cop. Get rid of him." And they didn't do anything. Like, he's still working. And then you've got guys that, you know, get these fucking letters for minimal shit, and it blows my fucking mind of how you can pick and choose. You know, well, we don't want to do the investigations. Well, you know, for me, I gave you a fucking investigation 3 years ago, and you didn't do dick with it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do any work. All you had to do was open the fucking files and watch the videos, and formulate your own opinion. Right? Did you even do that? I don't know.
Well, it's
You know,
perception.
Yeah, it's perception based. And then what was the other thing that's new up there? I'm trying to remember what the other big thing was. It'll come to me later.
That's fine. It's perception based. It's easier to throw a low level person under the bus than it is a high level person, is what it comes down to, and how that reflects on people. Man, we have been rolling with some good stuff for an hour now. I'm going to give the option to you. Do you want to keep going? Because I kind of want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about religion a little bit. Do you want to keep covering that stuff right now? Do you want to come back, reschedule a new episode, and hit a part 2 later on?
I say we hit it, man.
All right.
I got plenty of coffee. We're good.
Excellent. So the other pillar of this podcast is mental health, and we talk about it. We're looking to save lives, and we have saved lives. I want to know, coming from your position, I mean, you've got the small town part of it, you have the administrative part of it, you've got, you know, the relationship that went downhill, and then the new one that came out. What did mental health look like for you? What type of an impact did you take on with all of these different roles?
You know, if you would ask me this question probably about 5 to 10 years ago, it would have looked a lot different than it does now.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with age, right? And I'm not even talking about law enforcement. I'm just talking about getting older and recognizing what's important, you know? If you could bestow that upon everybody, I think we'd be a lot happier as a society. But, you know, that's not the way it works. Mental health for me was not great at all. You know, again, coming in, every day was a struggle, wanting to show up to work. You know, when you're getting shot at work, and then, you know, going through divorce, I got kids involved and trying to navigate that. You know, my mental health was not good. Now, thankfully, you know, starting a new relationship, I had somebody else that was a little bit more self-aware than I, and was able to recognize that, right, and kind of pick up some of those pieces, which is why, you know, it's important to know that person, be honest with that person, if you do have someone in your life, guy, girl, or otherwise. But no, it was a tough time, man. Like, and I'm here to tell you, like, straight up, like, it was rough, right? You know, you got an entire city against you. The only people on your side are, you know, a couple of your officers, but it feels like you're getting attacked from everywhere. You know, people that were your friends are no longer your friends, and then they're trying to do shady shit on the back end to get after you and get you fired and, like, ruin your career. Like,
yeah.
That was the worst part, is like realizing people that said they were your friends or like they cared for you, and, like, again, even other fucking cops in that jurisdiction, you know, that were like, "Oh, you're such a great person, I respect you a lot," and then the moment you make a life decision, they're like, "He's a fucking terrible human being, and I wouldn't fucking do anything for him." I'm like, you know, like, that all happens very quickly.
It does.
Law enforcement.
It does.
And goddamn, right? Like, if I didn't have the woman that I have now, if I didn't have some of these mentors and some of these other cops, man, like, some of these, like, everyone's got them, you know, these guys that you went to the academy with or you've worked with for a long time, that, you know, shit, you could do almost anything, they probably have your back. you know, if it wasn't for like having those guys and gals out there, I don't know where I probably wouldn't even be in law enforcement anymore. Right? That was the pivotal moment of, is it worth it to keep doing this job?
I will say that that's an issue that we have, and it's from the top down. I've seen ground level officers have this same problem, that you can do something right 9 million times, but the one time you do it wrong, all of a sudden that's who you are. And that's the reputation you get, again, from the bottom to the top. So Davis has got our back, and he's a great person, but the one time he does something I don't like, or that irks me, or goes against, you know, my thoughts, now he's a piece of crap, and all that other stuff is negated.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be something wrong. That's what drove me crazy.
Right.
Like, it can literally just be something somebody maybe disagrees with through religion or personal opinion or whatever the fucking case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we make a rash judgment. Like we just flip 180. Like, oh,
yeah,
I had lunch with him yesterday. We had a great time. To, he's a horrible, crooked person, and I fucking hate his guts. Or something that doesn't really affect them in life at all. and it's gotta fucking stop, because it's ridiculous.
Is there anything that, I mean, obviously you said that things changed because of the relationship, but is there anything you wish you would have had, a resource you wish you would have had when you were going through the stuff to kind of pull you out of it? Or, I mean, because like you said, a big what if that one thing didn't change, man, you'd be on a total different trajectory, could have gone really, really bad. Is there something you wish you would have had available to you right then and there?
Yeah, I think I wish I wasn't in my position, first of all.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I will tell you that, you know, part of that moxie of being a chief, like, I will tell you that part of me was like, I can't appear weak to my peers or to my community.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that's a tough spot. I wish there was something out there for administrators where it was less about measuring how big my cock is compared to like actually just sitting down and like having coffee and talking about issues we're seeing as law enforcement, right? That doesn't exist for whatever fucking reason, you know, and it happens every day. You know, like I said, I still call my old mentors all the time when I deal with that one citizen that I just can't deal with for the day before I had my coffee and things like that. Like, you know, I still have those conversations, but it never happens on a larger scale, and I guess I never understood why. I wish I would have had something like that, because, you know, and I guess it doesn't matter if you're a sergeant or not, like, if you have people looking to you to be the strong one, to be the one that continues to lead, I think that's part of the failure, right? But it's hard for me to say that, too, because I see across the board how we're failing the road line officers, too, on their mental health. So, like, there's a lot of help on that front there's a lot of difficult conversations, I think, that need to be had that are not being had at all.
I'm sorry, I chuckle because there's something going down right now, and we'll talk about it afterwards. But you're right. Action is not taking place. The awareness is there. You know, people know about mental health. It's everywhere, right? A big source of contention for law enforcement is, why is law enforcement going to these mental health calls? Yep. Everyone knows that people are hurting, but for some reason we're so concerned about smashing the stigma and not about actually taking action and moving forward to fix the problem. I guess, are there things that you're putting in place right now as an administrator to help yourself and to help your guys and girls when it comes to the mental health side of things?
Yeah, and you know, it actually came from, again, more so having a city that was open and actually gave a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have the peer support group, right? But I was very selective on what guys got to do that, right? I felt like it had to be people that you could actually go talk to, right? Like, it wasn't just a hand selection. It was like, who's got the best personality to deal with this stuff?
Yeah.
And then our city, too, you know, having that employee assistance program. You know, how does that look? How does that actually benefit the employee? Not just saying we have an EAP,
mm-hmm.
right? But, like, actually looking at the benefits. And I got to say, like, our city was very good about, like, we want this to be, like, a real thing. Like,
yeah.
We're okay spending that money, right? Because it doesn't just benefit the PD. It benefits everybody, right? We work very well as a city. You know, if we get a fatality in town, our road crew guys are going to be there. Our fire department's going to be there. We're all going to see the same shit.
Yeah.
right? And so the city was very open when I got there about like hearing about my struggles and these things and saying we need to do better, right? Like peer support's great. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but at the same time, sometimes we just refuse to open up to each other because
Right.
of that fear of I am not weak,
Yeah.
right? I am the sheepdog, I am the warrior, and it doesn't matter if you're my best buddy and we worked the road for 10 years, I ain't going to tell you a goddamn thing, and then 6 months later they start their pistol and we're all wondering what happened. And so it goes back to this substantial problem I have with law enforcement, again, right now is genuality, if that even is a fucking word, I don't know.
Sure.
Right? Like,
It's going to be a t-shirt now, so yeah.
we are not genuine in our actions. We are doing things to pat ourselves on the back to make us appear like we care to the public, but on the back end we're doing the same shit we've done for years and we're failing people. Right? That is, and again, I don't care who hears it. I don't care who fucking hates me for it. I don't give a shit. I know everybody I need to know, and they still come over for coffee, so I don't fucking care. we as a community are not genuine with each other, where we're doing things just so that the public sees that we're doing it, or that we're padding our resume, or all these other things. And I don't mean to paint us with a big brush, because I know there are other leaders out there that actually give a fuck about their guys. I know who they are. I've met a lot of them, and I respect the fucking hell out of them. But I think as a majority, we don't take care of ourselves. We just do things because everyone else is doing it, and it's an expectation now, and we don't actually put forth the effort to give a fuck.
Right.
And that's more detrimental in my eyes than it is just letting them deal with it on their own.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is nothing worse than feeling like I have support, to have that support yanked out or not what it's supposed to be. And it creates a whole nother fucking issue of mistrust. And it creates a whole nother sector of depression. And it creates a whole nother issue of trauma. And no one is talking about it. Right? Like, we use the word trauma so lightly. And, like, I even do a class where I teach people about, trauma through investigations. And I have what's called the grass theory from the military. Right? And I ask people, what does trauma mean to you? So I go around the room and I ask them. And they all horrible things, right? Like sexual assault, other things. And I said, you know what trauma means to me? It means I don't walk on grass anymore. And they all look at me and I said, where's my military people in the audience? And I get a few hands and I'm like, what are you not supposed to fucking do on any installation, right? You cannot walk on the fucking grass, right? If you walk on the grass, you're gonna get your asshole ripped open. You're gonna get yelled at, and everyone laughs. And I'm like, is that not trauma? Right? Like,
Right.
I think I don't think that we're focusing that word where it needs to be, because I said that experience to me and other military members has altered my course of life forever. I've been out of the military for 20 years, but I'll tell you, if I'm in a public place and I'm not in my yard and I see grass and a sidewalk all the way, I still have an exponential crisis in my brain about is Sergeant XYZ going to hop out if I take the shortcut and not the sidewalk? Right? And I can't stop it.
Right.
And legitimately, I'm like, if I'm not in fight or flight reaction mode to a hot call, if I park somewhere and I see a sidewalk all the way down and I know I can take that diagonal across that grass, right? But I can't. Like, my brain won't let me, because it scares me to think that I'm going to get in trouble for
Right.
walking on the grass.
Right.
Right? So that created trauma. It doesn't matter what the level of that trauma was, but that created trauma because that has altered my brain chemistry forever to not walk on grass that's not mine.
Yeah.
Right? And so I tell people, be very careful when we use that word, because we use it as a loaded word to only describe like terrible events, but that doesn't mean that other things don't create trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's what our leaders are doing, is seeing, OISs and dead bodies and suicides and these things as the only forms of trauma. And then, they don't realize that by saying, we'll help you and then leave you to the wolves is just another form of trauma. So we're
Right.
just compiling all of these actions on these young guys. And at the end of the day, again, it's hard for me not to just fucking care, right? Like, my officers, if they call me at 2 a.m, like, I'm gonna pick up the phone, right? Like, if they're calling me something nobody else is answering, or they need something that they need to talk to me, right? if another cop in another jurisdiction has my phone and they're calling it at 2 a.m, right? Like, I'm going to answer because I don't know what's going on or how they need me. And I would expect the same thing from them if I called them at 2 a.m. and I absolutely needed them.
Yeah.
Right? And there's just not enough of that shit going around. And again, it's the fake motivations as to why we're creating a peer support group or why we're getting an EAP, but we're not telling the employees or the officers or anybody what it actually fucking means.
Right.
Right? We just have an EAP. What's that? Well, I don't know. It's a therapist. I guess if you want to talk to him, you can. Well, that's not good enough.
And that's where I have to step in because every time someone mentions EAP, I feel the moral obligation to correct myself. I used to be one of the ones that would bad talk it because of the horror stories that I'd heard. And then I found out that there were a lot of success stories too. And basically when it comes to EAP, yes, the agency or the city is going to pay for, 2 or 3 of those initial consultations. That EAP is not designed to get you set up. It's not going to introduce you to the person you need to talk to long term. It's not going to fix the problem or give you solutions to the problem right away. It is set up to give you help right away and then to start making those connections and finding those solutions long term. It might be where you go to those 3 sessions and then they're going to help you find a therapist who's more related to the career field, who's more related to you, to get you that help that you need so that you can get one day to another because you're battling demons and you're facing things that other people haven't seen. So yeah, like you said, if all they're doing is putting an email out saying, yeah, hey, we got an EAP, use it if you need it, it's not enough. And you are obligated to take it a step further and really educate your people as to what that all means.
Yeah, same thing with the peer support too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's agents out there that say, yeah, there's a county-wide peer support team. What do they fucking do?
Right.
Right? What is their purpose? What is their objective? Right? Let your people know. And again, the fear behind that is my administration's going to find out. Like, let your people know there are laws in place with peer support that I don't ever have to fucking know, and nor do I fucking care.
Right.
Right? It is
you care, but you don't care about the
Yeah, I don't care. Like, yeah, good point. Like, I would rather you go seek genuine help, and I never know about it. Right? That's fine. Like, as long as you are strong enough to say, I need this, that's what I don't care about. Like, you should be strong enough. I don't see it as a weakness to say I need help, right? I don't see it as a weakness to go seek therapy. And again, it goes back to other leaders is we have to recognize that, right? If one of your people come to you and was like, yeah, it may suck. Are you going to, again, maybe you have to sacrifice that ball game that day to cover 4 hours of a shift for your officer so he can make his therapy appointment. Okay. Right? Like, I don't think we realize if you do those small things compile so much into big things that those officers are going to do 10,000 times more for you than you being a dickhead ever did.
Right.
Right? And they're going to be happier, which means they're going to make better decisions and create less problems for you down the road.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to miss some shit. You got to do some things. You got to answer your phone at 2 a.m. But like long term, it's going to be worth it. Like, I know it's going to be worth it because that's what I'm seeing now is, changing the way I did stuff and going the exact opposite almost from what everyone told me to do. My officers are happier, right? They know they can call me and they're not going to get yelled at. They know that if they need an extra body for a search warrant, don't worry, Chief will hold the ram. If we do a takedown of a pedo, they actually call me just to see if I want to have fun. Right? They're like, hey, we've got a guy meeting, our UC today. Do you want to come play? And it's like, yes, I do. Very much so. Right? And so, like, those little things, right, that's what I've recognized over the years because that's what I want. That's what I would want if I was working the road. If I was a corporal or a sergeant or a lieutenant or a captain, that's what I would want to see my chief doing, right? I want to be able to, like, have that complaint or 2 in the morning and be like, I want your supervisor and be like, hey, dude, like, if you don't like me, you're really not going to like him at 2 in the morning, right? Like...
But here's this number because I want to watch it take place.
Yeah, I'll call him right now, but I'm just telling you, he ain't going to be mad at me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how that should work.
And that's the key, man. It's again, being genuinity, boots on the ground, showing by acting, right? You can't hold it against them afterwards when you say you're going to support them and you cover that 4-hour shift. You can't turn around and go, hey, remember that time I helped you out? Man, why are you complaining? Because I helped you out that one time. Yep. It's got to be a constant, ongoing thing where they see that you're practicing what you preach, and they know that, hey, if I need help, there's help out there. I can reach out to it. And another big part of that is, you talked about how the officer starts his pistol, and everyone's looking around going, what happened? Well, we need the practical training from guys that have been through it, not professors and PowerPoints where, hey, these are the things to look out for. Your brothers and sisters on the line. You know your buddies better than anyone else out there. These are the things to look out for, that something's not right. And I need to start grabbing that guy by the neck and saying, let's fix the problem. Let's fix you. Let's get your head on straight and get you down the road so that I'm not standing at the head of your casket in 6 months or a year putting you in the ground.
Yeah, I've seen the downfall of it firsthand. And I'm not going to go into details, but I've seen that epitome, where it didn't result in death, but it was close.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was close enough where it's like, and this was in the first couple months of being here, and it's like, what happened? What is going on? And that information starts to trickle in, and you just see so many people that failed this kid, right? And it's awful. And it's all stems from, again, and it's not even all at the top, right? It's mid-level and on down too that failed him.
Yep.
No one had the fucking moxie or the fucking balls to be, like you said, grab him by the neck and be like, we're taking you somewhere because you need fucking help. Right? Like, I love you and I'm doing this because I love you, but you're going whether you like it or not.
Yep.
And I'm here for you, and
we're going to protect you along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's got to know. As long as you are getting the help you need, I'll take this to the grave. But no one has those conversations.
And the other part of that problem is, you talk about awareness, you talk about saying, hey, we have an EAP program or this and that. We get to the point where it is only reactive, and all of a sudden we're glorifying the incident, right? I'm cool with honoring the fallen. Absolutely, we need to do that, and we need to learn from that. When all you're doing is glorifying the incident that took place, now that person who's being forgotten about for 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, whatever it is, the only thing they can think of is, well, I've been forgotten about. Maybe they'll remember me now if I take this leap. Yep. We have to put action into place. We have to take this further than smashing the stigma and raising awareness. We have to be our brother's keeper.
And again, it just goes back to especially for the leadership, man. That's one thing I learned from, again, people sleep on these small town leaders, man, but we all learn stuff from somebody. And, my mentors told me, when he was at a huge department, right? We're talking 100 officers. He'd be so bored some days, he would literally go down to the squad room and just be like, hey, let's go drive around.
Yeah.
Right? And they'd be nervous as fuck when he started doing that because they didn't know why. And he's like, I'm bored. I want to go do some cop shit. And he would just hop in random cars, right? And ride around for an entire shift, not even be in the office. And, that sort of stuff, stuck with me because, again, it made me think, that'd be fucking cool, right? Having somebody that says they're a leader but actually out there doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why, on right now, if this is the platform I have right now is your podcast to say, I had my own issues mentally, and I recognized it, I'm at the top, and I had the same issues you did. Right? I went through the same shit. I went through the divorce. I went through a messy divorce. Politicians hate me, hating the job, not sure about, I was there, right? And, I'm here now to tell you, it can get better through the right things. So, that's my purpose, I feel now, right? In my age, I am at the point where I'm going to do the things that I think is right, and I'm going to make my way that way. And if nobody likes it, I really don't fucking care. And those who do, that's who's going to be in my circle. And so, I'm here to tell anybody that does listen to this, it doesn't matter if you're a patrol officer, it doesn't matter if you're a CO, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking chief, call me. Copland in Iowa is super fucking small. Come on. if you can't do 7 degrees to any fucking leadership in the state of Iowa, right? Like, then there's something wrong, because everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that'll get you in connections, right?
Yeah.
Send me a message, right? Like, I don't care who it is. If you tell me that you're a cop and you don't even have to tell me what a fucking agency you're from, and you just want to fucking bend somebody's ear, man, call me. Like, get my number from somebody, find me online, do whatever. Write me an email with your phone number. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Call me, right? Like, I want to stop seeing good officers end their life because they feel like they don't have anybody.
Right. And I will tell you, this guy is legit when he says that. He's genuine when he says that. He is open and available. We've had conversations about anything and everything you could think of. This is a good dude, and he's a good resource for you. Part of this, one of the things this podcast is changing up on, we've been called Feet to the Fire to start talking about religion and being up front with religion because of our own backgrounds and our own testimonies and things like that. Where has religion played a part for you? And maybe it's nothing. I don't have a problem with that, but I want to know where religion has played a part for you through all of this, from beginning to where you're at now.
I will tell you that I took a very large break from that for a long time.
Okay.
And I did so just because, more so between the military and starting this out, and really, having those evils in the world, and again, not being in a good relationship, not being good mentally, those all play a part in that, because you kind of ask yourself, why, right? Like, if there's this higher being that's supposed to be, all these things, why are we doing this to each other as humans? Right? Why are we at this level? And only until recently have I started to dabble again.
Okay.
Right? And I think that comes with age too. I think it's more of a, kind of have to, it's a perfect name, right? Feet through the fire, right? Trying to navigate life and do certain things. I have a lot of friends. I've made connections with a lot of, pastors and stuff like that through the communities that I work, who've, some have been great and been like, no pressure. I just want to get to know you because we're both involved in the community, right? One of my best friends is a pastor now because of that, because he came down and was like, I ain't trying to get you to come to church. We both work with all the community, and I want to have a good relationship with you. And I was like, I fucking respect that.
Heck
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, that's awesome. And I still talk to him all the time, and he's kind of leaned me back into it because of that mentality, right? Where it's like, no pressure. You're a good person. I just want to get to know you, right? I respect that. I didn't always have that, because that other one's like, oh, you should come to service and say a speech. Like, that's not my fucking place, right? Like, if I'm showing up on a Sunday or trying to do something like that, I'm just there to worship like everybody else. Like, I don't want to use my position to have a platform about something I know nothing about.
Right.
But again, only recently, right? Like, I've started to read a couple more books about like religion and faith-based stuff with law enforcement and other things. So, I don't have much to say on it now.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm dabbling again, right? Like, I think it's just the age thing of wanting to have a little bit more of that faith-based something in my life, right? Something. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm getting to that point where it's, there's still a missing piece of that puzzle. And so I'm exploring to see if that faith portion of it is what's missing.
I think you're going to find it for sure. What I've always said is ramming it down someone's throat is always going to push them away. And I think in this career field, a big part of the issue between the two is that you kind of put up that wall, like you said, where you're seeing all this stuff on this side that you don't have explanations for, and you kind of don't want the answer to, so you don't look at the other side of it. And it creates that wall and that wedge between the two. But I won't go into huge detail. I've started finding more and more answers by looking through that book, man, and by actually studying that book like you would case law. And some of the revelations that I've made, some of the things that have popped in my head have just been an awesome shift and an awesome change. It's always been there in my life, but I'm really starting to dive into it, and I'm always curious to see how other people are handling it in the career field and what their takes are and how they're being impacted by it. So I thank you for stepping up and giving us that.
Yeah, no problem.
What else you got, man? What else do you want to cover? We've talked about a lot of good stuff. Is there anything else irking Davis right now?
No, I mean, we hit all those high notes, right?
Okay.
Like it's where I'm at, again, with our careers. And I know it's the caveat, and everyone says, like, oh, we can do better or whatever. But, like, legitimately, as leaders, we can, right? Like, we see it. I know, because, I talk to fucking officers. If I go help another jurisdiction, I'm not going, hey, who's in charge of this? Like, I'm just going to go hang out with the dudes, right? If I want the juice, I'm going to go find the 4 or 5 guys that look a little rough, like maybe they work the third and are out for a couple extra hours, right? Like, if I want the juice, I'm going to go find out the juice from them guys, because they're going to tell me the fucking truth.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I know it's happening. And I don't know. I wanted to be on this podcast, and I greatly appreciate you, because I've done a couple other podcasts, right? And I want that platform to straight up almost call out. Because, like, I'm not going to call you out by name, but no offense, a shitty leader knows when they're a shitty leader. They just won't admit it to everybody else. Right? And you know who you fucking are, right? And I've alluded to some things. If they ever fucking hear it, they know who you are. You know I know.
Yeah.
Right? And I know you know who I know you know. You know I know. And, right? We can do fucking better, man. Like, there's not a lot of us left. We all know the recruitment crisis is real. I mean, I've got super young guys going to the academy right now, and they're not getting any older.
Right.
You know, the money is leveling out across the state. You know, it's not going to be, you know, if you want to start talking about stuff, eventually here it's not going to be about money. It's not going to be about benefits. It's not going to be about any of that, because that stuff's going to be rock solid. It's going to start becoming more and more like it was back in the day, where it's about culture.
Yes.
And I don't want to see an exodus to another state. I don't want to see an exodus to something else where we're losing people just because our broad culture sucks, right? And we can sit there and say our legislator has our back, and that's great, and I'm glad they do, and I am more than thankful that they do. But if we don't start doing stuff from every level, right, we got to stop drawing those fucking lines of like, well, I have 600 officers, right? Nobody fucking cares. Right? The only difference is you handle the same amount of calls I do, just with I have less resources than you. Right? And so, you know, if we want to talk about who's qualified here, no offense, it's those 4-man, 5-man departments, because they're doing the same shit.
And they're finding a way to do it with less money.
They're doing it with less money. They're doing it with less people, right? And why aren't we going to them for advice? Right? Why are we always going to the guy that can, you know, at a domestic has 19 squad cars show up? What? If you can't figure that out with 19 cars, what are we doing?
But that also couldn't figure it out themselves. If they were on scene, they wouldn't know the paperwork. They wouldn't know how to question anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, why? And like that goes back to the academy too. Like, why is everyone on that board of a population of like 50,000, 25,000, or whatever it is, or more? Yeah. What? But 87%, I think, is what the number is of Iowa law enforcement is towns of 10,000 or less.
Yeah, I think it might be higher. I think it might be higher.
It's like it's high 80s, if not low 90s.
Yeah.
Like, so the major majority of Iowa law enforcement is 10,000 or less. But we don't have a seat at the table. Right. Why? Right, and that's what makes me mad. Is like no one. If I just say why, no one can provide me a good enough answer.
It's the money. That's what I'm telling you. It's the money.
But even then, those are volunteer positions.
Right, but I'm saying
the power.
Yes, the power and the money that come with it. Yeah, on the back end of it, because if you
talk about removing some of that though, man, people get upset.
Oh man, yeah, and shutting stuff down real quick too.
Oh yeah.
So, well. For the long-time listeners of this show, you guys know that I'm not good at closing this out. I'm great at the opening. I can't figure out how to close it out. But this has been an excellent episode. If you guys can please check out all of our sponsors. I'm going to pepper some of those in throughout the episode in the back end of this. But mainly, do something good for your fellow man or woman, your fellow officer. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be huge, just something to make their day for that day, because we're going to change this world one person at a time. That's all I got. Stay safe. We'll get through this together.
Admin talks and broken plans, doing the best that we can. Jokes on shift, truth off mic, trying to live a normal life.